Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Peasy Young Writers Competition for 2025. My name is Callie, and I am one of the teachers at Primary Tutor Project, where we run online maths and English clubs for children aged 5 to 12. And this year, we have partnered with the lovely team at Get On Magazine to run the very first Peasy Young Writers Competition. So, in today's session, we're going to do a workshop which is designed to help you learn a bit more about how to plan a good story and get you thinking about how you can use your creative skills to showcase our wonderful area. Because remember, the stories have to be set in West Penwith. This competition is very exciting because the winner will have their own story published in the spring episode, in the spring episode, in the spring edition of Get On Magazine. So I have the very, very lucky job of being one of the judges for this competition, which means I get to read absolutely everybody's stories and help decide who the winner is. So that's why I think it's a really good idea to watch this workshop because I might be giving you some hints about what we're looking for. So, you ready to get started? Let's go. So, in today's session, we're going to go through three things. First of all, we're going to talk about planning a setting and planning your character. And finally, planning a plot. Plot is like what happens in your story. So, let's get started with some top tips about planning your setting. So, if you have found out about the competition in the Get On magazine, you hopefully have seen this page in the middle where you've got space to plan your story. If you don't have the magazine, don't worry because you can just do this on paper. I'm going to talk you through it anyway. When you're planning your story, it's really important that it's set somewhere in West Penwith. So I really encourage you to get out and explore. Go for a walk around town or have a look along the coastal path for some inspiration for your story. Actually, being in a place can give you so many more ideas than just trying to think about it at home. My top tip for all of our young writers is it's all about the detail. When you are writing your story, think about describing your setting in depth, adding some details about really specific things in that place will help your reader imagine that they are there with you. For example, I took a walk around the town and found some different places that I think would make for good settings. I wonder if you can spot where any of them are. Do you recognize this place? When you are looking around your setting, look really carefully, look really closely at what's around you, and write down some notes about how to describe. Let's think of some adjectives or other ways that we can describe them to make it more interesting. I called them smooth, pebble-shaped seats with a polished stone-like texture. So I'm starting to think about how they feel. I'm using my senses, what I can see and what they feel like to describe it. Do you recognize this place? So when I was thinking about how to describe the park, I first looked at the palm trees and then I thought about ways to describe the palm trees. Now, I cheated a little bit here because I saw on one of the signs in the park that they are subtropical plants. So I've used that in my description. I called them subtropical palm trees. And I noticed as well that the sky was pretty grey at this time of year. And I thought that the palm trees really contrasted against the grey skies. So I've written them both in my description. Subtropical palm trees contrast against the dull grey skies. You might notice that I've cut off the most important thing about St. Michael's Mount. I've cut off the castle, haven't I? But that's because I was really interested in another detail in this scene. Have a look at the rock pool below. What do you notice about it? I noticed that there were reflections of those ancient towers, the castle, glistening in the rock pools. So again, this is a more detailed description about something smaller that I've noticed in the setting that I'm in. And finally, here's a picture of one of the pubs in town. And the lane that goes alongside it, I thought was a very interesting lane. It's that really steep one that leads down to the harbour side. So I've described this as the steep wind tunnel lanes, because it's pretty windy up there, wind around the old tavern. So again, I've thought of a bit of a different description for the pub too. I've called it a tavern. It makes it sound a bit more, I don't know, old-fashioned. And finally, one of my favourite places in town, Morab Library. There are so many beautiful things in here that we could describe, but one thing I always notice when I'm in this building is the smell. Using your senses in your descriptions can add so much for your reader. Thinking about what things smell like, what things look like, how things feel, maybe even how things taste or what you can hear in a place. Using these in your story can add so much. So in the library, I described the smell as a rich, musty smell of aged paper, polished wood, and leather armchairs. So what I'd like you to do now is pause this video and think about adding some more details to your descriptions. So if you've already thought about where your setting is, can you remember any of the senses that you felt when you were there? Take some time now to add some notes, and then we'll go on to the next step. The next step in planning an amazing story is to really think about your character. The character is the person that your reader's going to connect with in your story. So you want to really give them a sense of who this person is and make them feel connected to them, whether that be that they like that character or that they're scared of that character, whatever it might be. Now, you've only got a really short word count. You've got 300 words. So realistically, it's probably going to work better for you to stick to one main character. I know that when you get started, you want to think about the friends and family of this person. Honing in on one main character for a short story is going to be more powerful. So, who is your character? You might look around our town for inspiration. So, just last month, it was Monthole Festival, and there are some really fascinating creatures that come out for Monthole. You can maybe think about one of these creatures for your story. We live by the sea. Perhaps your story has a mermaid in it. Perhaps you have got more of a realistic character in your story. Perhaps it's an elderly man that lives in the town. Maybe it's somebody that you've noticed on your walks around the town. Maybe it's one of your neighbours. Or finally, perhaps you feel inspired by your friends at school. Perhaps there's somebody at school you'd like to write into your story. It could be a real person. When you're describing your character, it's important as well to try and focus on describing lots of aspects about them, not just what they look like. So let's have a read of two example descriptions, and I want you to tell me which one you think is the best and why. So here's number one. I will let you read it to yourself, or you can ask an adult to help you. So this is the second description. As you can see, it's a bit more detailed, so I'll read this one to you. Captain Redbeard's wild red beard caught the wind as he stood at the helm, eyes gleaming with mischief beneath his eye patch. He spoke little, but when he did, his crew hung on every word, knowing his calm voice meant something important was coming. With a tap of his hook on the deck, the ship came to life, and even the toughest pirates softened when they saw how he looked after his crew. He sounds like a friendly pirate, doesn't he? Did you get any other ideas of what this character might look like or how he might be in your head? I certainly did. I started to think about this character and what he's like as a person. The first thing that sprang to my head is that he's a friendly pirate. Now, we've done that because we've not just described what he looks like, we've described other aspects of this character as well. And that's a really important thing for you to try and do in your stories. So, when you're planning your character, you can mind map certain things about them. So, for example, yes, we have got what Captain Redbeard looks like. We've talked about his wild red beard, which caught the wind as he stood at the helm. His eyes were gleaming with mischief beneath his eye patch. So, again, we've said that he wears an eye patch, but revealed a bit more about his character. We've said that his eyes were gleaming with mischief. That sounds like he's a bit cheeky, doesn't it? We've also talked about what he sounds like, the fact that he speaks very little, that everybody knows that when he speaks, it means something important was coming. We've also thought about what he does. So the idea that all he has to do is tap his little hook onto the deck to make the ship come to life. So that makes me think that all he has to do is tap with his hook, and everybody knows it's time to start working, it's time to get into action. So, my top tips for when you plan your character: stick to one main character and describe them well. You can have other people in the background, but one main character or protagonist is a good way to go. Write about how they move, behave, and talk, and not just what they look like. And here is a challenge for some of our older students. Perhaps you've heard about this before, using show, not tell to reveal something about their character. For example, you're showing how they're feeling or how their personality is without actually saying it. So instead of using the phrase, he was happy, how could you reveal he was happy? Perhaps he had a glint in his eye, perhaps he had a big grin on his face, with showing the reader how they're feeling rather than telling them. Once you have planned your character, the final part of planning is to think about the plot. What happens to your character? What happens in that setting that you've thought so carefully about? So when you're planning a story, it's helpful to think about it as a story mountain. You might have heard about this before, but if not, I'll quickly give you an example. Story mountain is how most stories pan out. Something happens at the beginning, some big action or problem, or something goes wrong in the middle of the story. And then the problem gets resolved at the ending. We often have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And when you're planning your story, it's important to think about what happens at each step of your story so that when you're writing, it's more cohesive. And this is particularly true for a short story because you've not got many words to play with. Grab yourself a piece of paper now, if you like, whilst I'm talking you through it. And we can start to just think about any random ideas that come into our head and get them down onto paper so we remember them. So you can start by thinking of what sort of story you want to tell, and your ideas for your character might dictate that. For example, if I had my pirates in the story, I might think about writing an adventure story. Perhaps you have something a bit spooky happen in your story. Perhaps you're going to write a scary story. Or perhaps your story is going to be full of fairies and witches, in which case it might be more of a fantasy story. Next, you think about where your story might start. Think about specifically where in that setting it is. For example, if it's down the promenade, perhaps they're sat on the pebbles. Perhaps they're down by the seafront fishing. Think about where you are going to begin. And then when we get towards the top of this mountain, we can think about something going wrong. Writing about some sort of problem in a story makes storytelling much easier because it makes it more exciting. So perhaps something strange happens. Perhaps your character encounters some sort of problem or something goes wrong. And think about what that could be. Next, it's important to think about how your character will resolve that problem. Will they do it alone? Will they fix the situation? Will they have to escape from that situation that they're in? Does somebody else help them escape? And think about at the end of the story, what have they learned? Perhaps you want to weave in a message into your story. You can think about what the moral of your story might be as well. For example, in my pirate story, perhaps my pirate is going to encounter a danger in the town. The townsfolk scared of him, perhaps, but he's just a friendly pirate and just wants to say hello to everyone. How is he going to fix that problem? Is somebody going to realize that he's actually kind, or will he have to prove himself? Once you've brainstormed all of your ideas, it's really helpful as a final step of planning to put them in order of how things are going to go in your story. You're basically taking everything together and putting it into one thing so that you're really clear about what you want to write about, what words you want to use, how you're going to improve your vocabulary or use show not tell, whatever it might be. So at the end, have a go at putting down some notes. And you can do this in bullet point form. You could put it into a table like I have done here with an opening, build up to the problem, what the climax is of your story, and what the resolution and ending is of your story. Once you have planned your story, your idea, it's time to write. Remember, it should be no more than 300 words, which is actually really quite a short page. You can type it or write it, whichever you prefer. And the most important part, have fun with it and let it show your own amazing imagination. Remember, when we're judging your stories, we're judging them on a few different criteria, one of them being your imagination, like what ideas and creativity have you used? And finally, remember to submit your story. So I'll put a link below this video of where you can submit it. And the closing date for the competition is the 28th of February. And remember, the winning entry will have their story published in the March-April edition of Get On. Good luck. We cannot wait to read your stories. Have fun with it. And I'll see you all soon.